It doesn't matter what we look like during me reading the passage because I put screenshots over it.
That's fine.
You're rolling.
You ready? Yep. All right, man. You good?
Yep.
All right. Well, hey guys, thanks so much for joining us for week 3 of Hot Wings. We did a couple weeks before Easter. If you missed it, feel free to go back and check it out. And we got a couple more weeks of it coming up. And I just want you to know why we're doing Hot Wings as a church. So, first of all, Element Church is geared towards and committed to connecting real people to the real Jesus. And right now, in the middle of coronavirus, in the middle of everything being crazy, we really have 2 goals with this series. One is to help you laugh. We just believe that laughter and joy and just a chance to get a break from the chaos of life is cathartic and helpful. And so we really want you to be able to do that and have a good time with it. And then the second thing is we're talking through some conversations that people have with Jesus. And I know for a lot of us, reading the Bible can be difficult, can be frustrating, can be hard to understand. And so one of the things I've hoped that's happened in this series so far is that you've been able to find yourself kind of in the midst of the conversation. As Steve and I sit here today and have a conversation about some things that go on with a woman, I hope you ask yourself some of the same questions and think about maybe where you fit into the story. Because the woman that we've been looking at in John chapter 4 is a woman who feels like she's not worthy of going to church. Like she's got too many issues, too much baggage, too much crap to be able to go to God. And I'm talking to many of you, and even just in my own story, I know I've felt that way often. And it's just something that we all kind of deal with. And so we want to make sure that you find yourself in the story. So we hope that you do that. I do want to give you just one quick announcement. We had our Easter this past week. We've had a lot of people giving. We've had a lot of things going on. And we are excited to be able to help the ICU over at Baltimore Washington Medical Center because we're recording this midweek. We don't have that final number yet, but we'll be giving that out on Sunday. So be sure to check back on our social media, on Facebook or Instagram. You can get that latest up-to-date number. We'll also post it in the comments of this video. And so I hope that you enjoy Hot Wings Week 3. We're going through this book of John. We're in John chapter 4 with the woman at the well. Jesus has had a conversation with this lady now for the past 2 weeks as far as we've been talking about. And he kind of called her out on some stuff last week. She said she didn't have a husband. He goes, "You're right, you've been married 5 times, and the guy you're living with now, you're not even married to." But there was something about that conversation. We'll get a little bit more into that, but there was something about that conversation that really stuck out to her. So we're going to pick it up in verse 27 if you're reading along. John 4:27 says this. It says, "Just then, Jesus' disciples came back, and they were shocked to find him talking to a woman. None of them had the nerve to ask him, 'What do you want with her?' or 'Why are you talking to her?' And the woman left her jar beside the well, ran back to the village, telling everybody, 'Come and see a man who told me everything I ever did. Could he possibly be the Messiah?' And so the people came streaming from the village to see him. And meanwhile, the disciples were urging Jesus, 'Rabbi, please eat something.' And Jesus replied, 'I have a food you know nothing about.' And they get confused. I think like many of us would. And they ask, 'Did somebody bring him food while we were gone?' And then Jesus explained, 'My nourishment comes from doing the will of God, who sent me, and from finishing his work. You know the saying, 4 months between planting and harvest, but I say, wake up and look around. The fields are ripe for harvest. The harvesters have been paid good wages, and the fruit they harvest is people brought to eternal life. What joy awaits both the planter and the harvester alike. You know the saying, one plants and another harvests, and I say it's true. I sent you to harvest where you didn't plant, and others have already done the work, and now you will get to gather the harvest.' And then it says that many Samaritans from the village believed in Jesus because the woman had said, 'He told me everything I ever did.' But when they came out to see him, they begged him to stay in their village. So he stayed there for another 2 days, long enough for many more to hear the message and to believe. And then they said this to the woman, 'Now we believe, not just because of what you told us, but because of what we heard, because we have heard him ourselves. Now we know that he is indeed the Savior of the world.'" All right, so if you haven't been here for the past couple weeks, here's kind of the format of this. We got 10 different wings, 10 different hot sauces going from the lightest to the hottest. We are excited. Me and Steve are going to eat a wing. I'm going to ask him a question that's a little bit more personal to him, but it gives him a chance to find himself in the story. Hopefully it gives you a chance to do that. And if nothing else, it'll be funny to watch us eat some hot wings and suffer through. We do have one wing sauce that we added. Old Grumpy Mark's. It's an ultimate warrior sauce. Peach habanero. Steve brought it over. He was excited to be able to bring it. We have no idea where it is on the Scoville scale, so if one of you can look it up and find it for us, drop it in the comments. That would be super helpful. But all right, so Steve, here's the first wing. It's our banana pepper sauce. 300 on the Scoville scale. Should be pretty light and simple.
300.
300. It's 300 times a green pepper, but a green pepper is not really hot. And this is the smallest wing we had, so I ate it first. Oh, napkins. Hey, Brendan, can you grab me some napkins? Because I totally forgot them. All right. So that wing's pretty easy. But we've been outside. We had some cigars to kind of kick this whole thing off. We've been enjoying ourselves, spending a little bit of time together. 6 feet apart. But
Right, but not 6 feet now.
But not 6 feet now for the sake of the camera. But you spent most of the afternoon complaining about how difficult it is to talk to women. And Jesus starts his conversation talking to a woman. And the disciples are thrown off by it. So let me just start this.
That's fine.
What's the most difficult thing about talking to a woman, in your opinion?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, we didn't start off the conversation with that. Thank you for throwing me under the bus, because my wife will be watching this. Really, I think the most difficult thing about talking to a woman is being able to communicate your point, because men and women are completely different. I know that that's a struggle that Christina and I have. It's just something you got to continue to work through, to just try and put yourself in the other person's shoes, which really is difficult for me because, I'm a dude.
Sure.
So I'm not all sensitive and weepy. So
makes sense. I'm not affiliated with his comments. I think women are easy to talk. No, I'm just playing.
Right.
Steve actually hasn't been complaining at all, but I wanted to throw him under the bus for the first question. And it's a good starter question. So second sauce is simple. We're jumping right in. Anaheim pepper, 1,500 on the Scoville scale, so it's going to jump up. It's supposed to be 5 times as hot, but just my opinion, shouldn't be too bad. If you guys find some hot sauces that you really like, shoot me a text, let me know. I'd love to try them out.
That was pretty good.
That's okay. We're starting to go into these green sauces, which I am not a fan of. But, all right. So, in the story, we see Jesus' disciples kind of in the place that Jesus' disciples always are. They're a little bit confused by him. They're not really on the same page. And I feel like if I'm Jesus, I get frustrated with them at times. It's like, how many times can I explain the same thing to you without you guys being on the same page? I know you really well. We've been hanging out for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. You work for the government. You've expressed a lot of frustration over the years.
Oh, man, I love working for the government.
I'm feeling like you're not on the same page with the people that you work with. But here's my question. What's the most frustrating thing about working for the government?
I mean, really, it's a bureaucracy and really just the timeliness and the way things don't get done. That's probably the biggest thing.
The
lack
slow
of
pace?
decision making and slow pace.
Got it. So I wanted to ask that question because we have a lot of people who work for the government.
Oh, then they know exactly what I'm talking about.
And everybody that seems to work for the government seems to have that same complaint. That's like, it takes forever to get anything done, and it gets held up in the midst of a bunch of meetings that don't make any sense.
Right. So you think that something would be done, but no.
But it's not.
No.
Got it. Thankful for your job.
Thankful for my job. Yes, I'm still working even in this time, so that's good too.
Got it. But that gets annoying.
Yeah.
Totally get it. All right. So third wing, third sauce, green serrano pepper, 17,000 on the Scoville scale. So we're 10 times apparently as hot as that one. What do you think of the last sauce?
I liked it. It tastes pretty good.
I think these are the ones that I'm not crazy about. If you guys send me green sauces, I'm not going to try them.
Man, don't be a weenie. Just eat them.
It's not that they're too hot. It's that they taste disgusting. That's not even hot.
It doesn't even taste like anything.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. The later ones will, whether we want them to taste like something or not. But, all right, so in the story, and really, I mean, throughout Jesus' ministry, we see Jesus had a way of breaking social norms, kind of going against the cultural way to do things, and reaching people that either were unreached or were viewed as unreachable. And so, like, we see him heal people that nobody else would touch. We see him talk to people that nobody else would socialize with. And just the fact that he's socializing with this woman, when the story picks up with the disciples going, why is he talking to her? And they're not asking him because they're a little bit nervous, but they're definitely thrown off by the fact that Jesus is spending so much time with a woman. So I guess my question is this. I know you've been able to reach some different people and spend some time with some different people and do ministry against the social norm. I was just wondering if you have an example of maybe somebody you've been able to reach, even in this time, that's against the norm of what society would say to do or who to hang out with.
Sure. I mean, I actually have a friend now who's staying with us in this time. He came upon some hard times and needed a place to go, so we opened up our house to invite him in. I mean, you want to make sure that we can take care of people, especially in this time, but overall, I mean, just to make sure that they have their basic needs met.
Sure.
And things like that, without getting too specific.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I mean, Kim and I are having a friend of ours over, or a friend of mine over, on Friday. And I know it's coronavirus, and I know we're socially distancing. We're doing it in a wise way. We're going to make sure we clean the house and disinfect and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I got a friend going through some hard stuff. Not the same situation as what your guys going through, but it's just we want to be able to minister. We want to be able to reach out. And so I'm not encouraging you guys to not socially distance if that's what you feel led to do. But I would encourage you to consider how can you do ministry in the midst of a crazy time where everybody is kind of spread out and far apart. Do you have anything else with that?
Yeah, I would like to say that, that there are opportunities out there to do that too. I know that my church United, they are going to Hopkins to make face masks and stuff like that. So Hopkins is looking for people to do face masks. The food bank is always looking for people to package boxes of food and deliver them to people. I mean, that's really the thing that is probably the most important right now at this point in time. So that's
it makes sense. I'm excited we get to help the ICU. So Christina, if you guys aren't familiar, Phil's wife Christina works at the ICU at Baltimore Washington Medical Center. She had a conversation with me a couple days ago and just said, hey, one of the biggest needs we have is for like water bottles and Gatorade because the cafeteria is shut down. And so they're having to do like tap water. She's like, we can't get anything with a lid on it at the hospital. And I was like, that's such a simple need. I feel like we can just provide for them. So any donations we got the week of Easter, we're just giving away, and we're going to help provide water and Gatorades and drinks to the nurses and doctors in the ICU dealing with all of the coronavirus patients. So it's a simple thing. There are practical ways you can do ministry and care for people and still be socially distanced. So we're jumping right through these. Wing number 4 is cayenne pepper, 30,000 Scoville, so it's supposed to be roughly twice as hot. That last one that we ate, I really like this sauce, so I'm interested in what you think.
Sure.
You like hot sauces anyway?
I do like hot sauces.
So Steve came, he called out DeAndre. He's like, DeAndre was a wuss.
I didn't say that. Again, saying all these things that I didn't say.
It's his old age. He's forgetting
what
he
it
said.
is.
But, no.
Well, here, let me have the big one. You can have the little one.
Thanks, man.
I don't want you to hurt yourself.
Thank you. But he was like, I'm not scared at all. I'm just doing water. I'm not doing anything else. I'm a man. So, good luck to whoever comes behind him. I do like that you're actually eating the wings. Like, you're not just taking a bite of them.
Dude, it's a wing. It's eating hot wings.
I know, but not everybody wants to eat the wing.
Well, we're still on the easy ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Later in the game, I want to see you still
goes.
eat the whole wing.
We'll see how it goes.
But,
and what people don't tell you is that this really is the easy part. The hard part is tomorrow.
Good luck. I've dealt with it for 2 weeks. It's getting a little bit easier. But, all right, so Jesus has this weird statement in this passage where his disciples come and they're like, hey, do you have any food? You really need to eat something. They're worried about him. They're concerned for him. It makes sense. And he's like, no, I get my food from somewhere else. And they're like confused. Like, did somebody else bring him something? Were we not going to get food? Like, what was the breakdown of communication? And he says he gets his nourishment from doing the will of his Father. And there's been some debate about that passage and some discussion about it, about exactly what it means. But I want to lean into kind of how we nourish our souls. Like, I know there's a lot of different ways that different people kind of take an approach on making sure that they take care of themselves. And so knowing there's a couple different ways that you really kind of, I would say, do soul care. You might call it something else. You might say I'm totally off on this. But if you had to pick one of the following 3 options to just take care of yourself, to like encourage yourself, to care for your soul, however you see that, here's your 3 choices. Cigars with me, because I got to plug myself in there somehow.
Right.
Man camp, because I know you love man camp.
Yes.
Or working out, lifting weights, just pumping iron for a little bit.
Man, that's a tough one because they're all good. They're all good options. I would say probably the best one would be man camp, and I only say that because I could still sit around and smoke cigars and have conversation because we do that when we go.
Sure.
So those two kind of go together. I would choose that probably the best, just only because it's been every single time that I've gone, it's been an amazing experience it's been a rough yet amazing experience to have God, like, just bring some things to the forefront of my mind to deal with and even help me through like some of the tough situations that have been going on in my life the last couple of years. But I mean, I've always come out better and more focused and really a little more solid in my faith.
Sure.
Overall, and really that's important. Not that I'm 100% every day, but
Yeah.
I've learned a few things. Really, the biggest thing I've learned is that God is not the one that's moved. So usually when things get rough, we're always like, "Hey God, where are you?" But really, that's not what it is. I found that I'm the one that withdraws, and I'm the one that goes somewhere else to try and fill that void with something else, alcohol, or even lifting weights or things like that, food.
Sure.
Like all of those things. So, that was an important revelation for me because now I cannot really get angry with God if he's not answering me, if I'm not taking the time to talk to him.
Got it.
So
Got it. We're going to get into how you spend time with God or what that looks like or what the most effective way for you be. We'll get into that in a little bit. But this is wing number 5. So we're stepping up a little bit more. What is
Scotch
this one?
bonnet.
All right, so this is the Scott bonnet. 250,000. So it's a big jump from 30,000. 8 times hotter. I don't know how that scale actually works. But Scotch bonnet pepper out of Jamaica. What I've learned from Jamaican people is they love hot food. So you pick your wing. I'll go next. Making sure there's plenty of sauce in there. I accidentally tried this sauce earlier. I mean, I've had it before, but I was pouring the sauce on the wings and I had some on my finger and I licked it off and was really aggravated with myself for doing that. What do you think?
I don't know that I'm a fan of that one. I mean, it's got a little spice to it, but I don't like the flavor.
I get it. There are definitely some of these sauces that feel hot for the sake of being hot or just have a flavor that I hate and has nothing to do with the...
It does have a slow burn, though.
Yeah. All right, so one aspect out of the 3 things that I just gave you. So cigars with me, and I'm not trying to just plug myself in there, but I know that, like, at least for me, cigars and spending that time with you has been really meaningful,
right.
Helpful, encouraging, challenging, all the gamut of things there. Man camp for both of us, and then even the gym for a lot of people, it involves like community. I know you might not be the biggest on like lifting and needing people to pump you up and talk you through it, but all 3 of those things tend for most of us to involve this idea of community. And so as a guy, community is a lot hard. I don't say it's a lot harder, but it seems a little bit more difficult to figure it out. And so as a guy, what's the best thing you've found that's helped you connect with other guys, talk with men, be real in conversation?
So that's a tough one because I really feel like it's difficult for men because we're really not purposeful in doing it. Like taking the time to get together and stuff like you and I are, we get together, with other guys too.
Sure.
On occasion, and it's a good thing to do that, but really I think it's the lack of purpose in making the time to do that. And I understand that life can be busy and you have other responsibilities, but it really is important to get together and find a spot. I hate to say the word safe space. I just want to roll my eyes
Sure.
when I say that, but to find a space where you can feel safe to to build a relationship to the point where you can be open and vulnerable. Oh man, the sauce is starting to kick in.
Yeah.
Open and vulnerable, with guys that you've taken the time to build a relationship with.
Sure.
So, I mean, I have cigar nights at my house once a month. Well, hasn't started back up yet. There's going to be a big one once this coronavirus thing is over. But really, it's just that, like getting together or like maybe going out for a beer or, just things like that, hiking, camping, kind of stuff.
Sure.
So.
Sure. I know, just to expand on that a little bit, I know you and I have spent a lot of time, like, that you and I didn't start getting into deep stuff right away. Like our first conversation wasn't one of, here's my biggest frustrations in life, here's the biggest tension I have in life. If you guys don't know, Steve was a youth leader for me like years ago when I was 16 or 17, and that's where our relationship started. So it's been a long time coming. But even the guys that we've been able to connect with, a lot of times the hard stuff that comes in conversation tends to happen 6, 7, 8 conversations down the road. And there's a lot of wings and beer and cigars and just time to hang out doing something that has nothing to do with deep relationship building, but allows for kind of that relationship to form.
Well, yeah, I mean, most guys, I'm not going to say all guys, but most guys are not going to drop all their personal drama the first time they meet somebody because, you have to put on the facade of being strong or, thinking that you got it together or stuff like that. I mean, that's a stereotype that we have. But yeah, I mean, once you get to the point where you can do that, it opens up a whole different world of being able to deal with some of the garbage that, comes along in life and not feel judged.
Yeah.
Or feel crappy about, feeling ways that you feel, knowing that there are other people out there that feel that way too.
Yeah. And just a quick plug for something. Steve and I have been doing something we just called Adventures in Manliness. We just wanted to get guys together, give them an excuse to kind of hang out, be more purposeful with the way that they intentionally connect. And so we've done some simple things. We had an axe throwing thing on the schedule that wasn't able to happen just because of the way coronavirus happened. But we've been trying to come up with just some practical things where guys can get together, hang out. And the goal isn't that in a group of 10 or a group of 12 you would kind of go around the circle and share all of the crap of life. It's more of, in the midst of that, there's some safe spaces, to overuse the term, that kind of get created, like stepping back from the conversation of everybody else and where people just talk. I know sitting outside of Salerno's in Eldersburg, there's been a lot of conversations where I have one-on-one with somebody away from the rest of the group that have been helpful, meaningful, times to be able to pray together. I know years ago we did a poker night at my house, and me, you, and one other guy went out on my deck and just got to pray and talk about what was going on. And really, our whole goal in, I don't want to speak for you, but I think our whole goal in that is just to be able to create space where guys can get together, hang out, and maybe bump into one another, but bump into Jesus kind of along the way as they talk about what's going on in life.
Yeah, I mean, so I know that most of the guys that come to these things are Christians and stuff like that, but it's not really a religious thing. It's not a Bible study. It's not anything like that. It's just a time to get together and like you can talk about anything from football all the way to like deep theological discussion. So it's not, there is no topic.
Sure.
There is no structure. And really, like you said, it's not 12 guys sitting around sharing their feelings. It's hanging out, building relationships, and then maybe you fade off into that, one-on-one time with someone who you've already been building a relationship with, or it may just happen then and there. It's you never know. That's kind of like what we're trying to be open to.
Sure. I mean, it does end with us holding hands, singing Kumbaya. No, it's never ended.
It absolutely does not. It does not.
It does not end with that. All right. So this sauce is our next one up. It's habanero pepper, 600,000 on the Scoville scale. It might be a little bit hotter than the peach habanero, but we'll see.
Maybe.
Which one you want, the wing or the drumstick?
I'll take the wing on this one.
Go ahead, man.
Are you waiting for me?
I'll wait for you. Right. I'll let you do it.
Habanero. Ooh, this one's sticky. There go the sinuses.
Woo! So they're starting to open up.
That's a good one.
Do you like the sauce, though?
I do like the sauce.
So, that's the last sauce I really enjoy.
I am actually going to take a sip of water.
Good for you, Wico. All right, so one of the things I noticed when I was reading the passage even today, just trying to study it a little bit in preparation for this, is that the woman goes into town and tells people, hey, I met this guy who tells me everything about me. And then she asked the question, could it be the Messiah? It's like Jesus told her he was the Messiah. She kind of agreed, but she's still left with a lot of questions. I think a lot of times in life, especially when it comes to like sharing your faith or telling people about things, most of us try and feel like we need to have it all together before we kind of take the step of inviting anybody else to be a part of it. So it may be faith, it might be something else, but here's my question. What was the last thing you experienced? You didn't fully understand, but you experienced, and you just invited somebody else to participate with you?
I would say it would be man camp. I mean, the first one that we went to, after that, I can't shut up about it. So every time I see a guy, I'm like, man, you need to come to man camp. And it's not, and I'm not saying you need to go to this place to meet Jesus and to start your relationship there. I'm just saying that it's such an amazing experience to go and see 600 guys drinking whiskey and beer, smoking cigars, doing arm wrestling or, races and stuff, and just then sitting around a campfire and smoking cigars and talking. I mean, it's...
You all right?
I am. My lips are on fire. Now I forgot what I was saying. But no, it really it's that, because we know the first time we went, there were 1,600 guys there.
Yeah.
And, just the fact that I think the most freeing thing is Brian Tome, the pastor at Crossroads. First thing he says when he gets up there is, "Your voices are welcome here." So it's an opportunity to just kind of like take that heavy burden off your shoulders and just allow God to do His thing.
Sure.
And I would be willing to guarantee that 1,600 guys there, 1,600 of them had an experience with God that weekend.
Yeah.
And the subsequent times that I've gone, I would say the same thing.
Yeah, so I'd agree. Man camp was really cool. I mean, you and I were looking for we literally just said we're looking for a men's retreat that didn't suck, right? Like, we'd been a part of some of those. We weren't really looking for that. We found man camp. I don't even remember which one of us found it, but we were excited about going. And then one of the cool things for me was this past year when we went, I don't think I had a drink while I was there. We had a couple cigars, but we had a guy in our group that just seemed to have a tendency to drink a little bit too much. And we didn't want to go down that road. We didn't want to encourage a temptation.
Right.
And it was this idea of like, yeah, your vices are welcome, but it's not about drinking. Like, man camp isn't about drinking or smoking cigars. It was much more about like, hey, let's stop judging ourselves so harshly as men and have the freedom to interact with God this weekend. And to me, that was just a cool experience. So if you're somebody who's been considering man camp, whenever they open it back up, here's two big people who are going to plug it and encourage you to be a part of it. So, all right, now we're into the sauce you brought. So we'll see how bad of a decision it was to bring your own sauce.
That's fine. It's got peach in it, so...
Peach habanero. Can't be too bad.
My nose is running like crazy.
It's definitely sticky. Don't be like DeAndre and touch your face. That's what he did last week. I was nervous for him.
Maybe this will kill some of the... Oh, man. That's good. I want some more.
I do like the peach. Ooh. There's spice on the back end, though. The peach is deceptive now.
Ooh, mama.
Old Grumpy Marks. You can pick it up at a random liquor store in Hampstead.
Main Street Liquors.
Yeah, that's apparently where Steve got it. All right.
That is deceptive. Ooh, wee.
Yeah. So, it's good, though.
It is good.
I love the woman's description of Jesus. So, she doesn't really know if he's a Messiah, but then she gives this thing that's like, but he told me everything I ever did. It reminds me of, like, superheroes. It's like, she doesn't really know how to describe him, but it's like, this guy can read minds. It's kind of like the impression that I get from her, and she's like, I'm not really sure how to translate it, but it's not only like, he knew me, but then he still accepted me. So, here's my question. If you could have any superpower, I know you're a superhero guy, I know you're into the movies and stuff like that. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Probably super strength. Because I feel like that just fits me. I don't need to fly or be invisible or anything like that.
Or read minds?
Or read minds. No, reading minds I think would be horrible.
I don't know what my superpower... My superpower would be to be able to eat hot wings and not feel anything.
I might be breaking out this ranch dressing here in a second. Man, oh man.
So Steve's refilling his water. He told me he wasn't going to drink. But, all right. So coronavirus related.
Hold on. Where's DeAndre with the donuts?
Yeah, exactly. That is what we need. All right. So coronavirus related. A lot of people are watching a lot of TV. We need something besides Tiger King. Right?
That's the craziest show ever.
Joe Exotic might be your superhero, but if he's not, if you could pick one superhero movie for people to check out, especially somebody like me who's not into superhero movies, if you could pick one superhero movie for somebody to check out during coronavirus, what would your plug be?
The Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger's turn as a Joker. Dude, that movie was amazing.
Got it.
Amazing.
Brendan's nodding his head. Was that your pick, or would you go something else?
I mean, there's some other good ones too that are fun, but if you want the best one, that's the best one.
That's the best one. All right.
And I would actually recommend the whole trilogy, but
All right. So I don't know how hot that was. We really don't know.
Ghost Pepper. This is 1 million.
Ghost Pepper, 1 million. 7-Up. You want the wing or the drumstick?
I don't know.
The next two we just have wings, and they just get hotter, and those are just stupid hot. I'll tell you that. There's no point in that how hot it is. There's no flavor in how hot it is. They're just stupid hot.
Christina's gonna get spicy kisses tonight.
Yeah. Congratulations, Christina. Thanks for letting us use them. You want drumstick?
Doesn't matter.
All right, I'll go this one.
I think I'm just gonna take what's on there though.
Yeah, take it. This one's Ghost Pepper. What you said?
So I like Ghost Pepper. I think it's got a really good flavor that goes along with the heat, and it's not just stupid hot.
Yeah.
Although
the last two
lips are on fire.
I don't think you'll agree, but maybe you will. All right, so on a deeper level, I think what the woman's actually communicating is this guy knows all of my baggage, all of my crap, all of my stuff, all of my history, and he still, as a religious leader, is willing to talk to me, is willing to have a conversation with me, and invites me to be a part of what he's doing. Like, Jesus doesn't isolate her for all the stuff that she's done. And I think that's what her experience had been. Many of us have bad experiences with religious people and kind of feeling judged. But Jesus gives her truth. Hey, I know your story, but then also grace. I love you anyway, and I accept you, and you're a person, and all those things. One of the things you and I talk about often is tattoos. I know you have 2 tattoos on your forearm, one that is truth, one that is grace, because of how significant that is to you. So why are those tattoos so significant? Why'd you get them? What do they mean?
Whew. Okay. So first of all, when I got them, it's really the things that I struggled with the most. The tattoos that I have on my arm, deal with the things that I struggle with the most. But at this point in my life, it's really now that it's not so much a struggle. It's more of just a reminder of what God has done for me and how I should be towards other people. This one was my own design. It's Jesus' hands breaking the chain, and it says the one I owe I can never repay. So it's just a reminder that there really is nothing that I can do to ever earn what Jesus did for me. It was a gift. It was free. He did it willingly. He did it because he loved me, and he loved you, and he loved everybody else that has been and will come.
Sure.
So it was cool. And the truth thing really, that was really when God was really starting to work on my life. John 8:32, he said, "And you know the truth, and the truth will set you free." That was a verse. I'm a big fan of truth. I don't need fluff. I don't need anything. Just tell me the truth.
Yeah.
And that stuff. And I'll just throw a little plug out there about this truth tattoo. I got it done at Concrete Jungle. Chris Pecca, awesome dude. One of the most genuine dudes I've ever met. This right here, this little cross right here, was a stencil, and he freehanded everything else. And it's just an amazing tattoo, and I love it. I get tons of compliments on this tattoo. And actually, he's done all the ones that I have.
Got it.
Too. So I'm hoping that this coronavirus thing ends soon because I want to get back over there, and I'm ready for another one.
He's doing free Joe Exotic tattoos.
Oh no, no, thank you.
No, but
on that one.
Yeah, big shout out to Chris. I know you watched a couple of our other Hot Wings videos, but yeah, we get a lot of our stuff done there. I mean, I get all my stuff done there. I did one in somebody's house, regret it. Sarah covered it up, Chris's wife, and then all the rest we've got from them. They've been a great, great group of guys, great friends. I totally am with you. They're super genuine people, and they're awesome to hang out with. So if you guys are looking to get work done, go see Chris or Sarah at Concrete Jungle, or Alex if you need a piercing. All right, number 9.
Scorpion Pepper.
Scorpion Pepper, 1.4 million, I think.
So I feel like that's not going to be as bad. It's not going to be much worse than this last one.
Whew. Okay.
But I may have to pour out. Oh man, my lips are numb.
Yeah, that's okay. It just helps you
let's
not
just do
feel
it.
it. We're going in on the sauce. For those who are keeping track, last week this was our hottest sauce, and then DeAndre picked to do the last dab with our next sauce, but Steve wanted to go all in.
Hold on, man. Bring that plate back over here. I might have to do it up. We'll see.
Brendan is keeping the water full. Big shout out to Brendan, who is a freelance video guy. If you need video or editing right now, you can contact him. I don't even know what his stuff is, but we'll make sure it's posted in the comments. And
or someone to get you drinks. He does a good job of that too.
He's wanting to do just about anything right now because he is dealing with coronavirus and the effects of it in the freelance video gig.
You know what? I feel like the ghost pepper one was hotter.
Yeah, but I like the ghost pepper one. This one is just heat for no reason. You agree?
Yeah.
There's no flavor there. It's just stupid hot, in my opinion. You want more of that ranch?
I didn't take any of it yet.
Oh, okay. All right, so...
I'm just going to hold it off to the side and lick it off the plate if I need to.
It'll be fun to watch. It's all about content.
Maybe I'll
here
just
at Element. That's what we're about is content. All right, so we're down to your favorite part of this whole story, which is the end after Jesus has talked to the woman. The woman's gone. She's gone into town. The people come back, and they say to her, "We came and met Jesus because of what you told us, but we believe what Jesus says because we heard him ourselves." Like there's a shift in what they heard. And so I guess my question is this, like it took them, here's the statement. So it took them actually spending time with Jesus on their own for it to be significant for them. They couldn't own her faith. They had to have their own faith. So for you, what's been the most effective way for you to be able to connect with God, have a relationship with him that's actually deep, meaningful, life-giving, life-changing?
And you're asking me a deep theological question while my lips are numb. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that question would be. Maybe if I talk to you about like what I think that verse or what I think that interaction with the woman and the people that she brought.
Sure.
Really, I just feel like it goes to speak to the fact about how we're supposed to witness to people. How we bring people in, people who know us, and we can share our story with them. It draws them into, maybe God has done something real in this, in my life or in your life or something like that. And this has a long burn.
Yeah, it doesn't go away.
And really, that's all we have to do, because once they got there and Jesus talked to them, they were like, "Oh, hey, we came because of what you said, and we know who you are and the things that you've done, and we're hearing these things that he said, and we're seeing the change in you. Let's go check it out."
Yeah.
And then you get there, and Jesus stays with them for a couple of days, and then they're like, "Hey, we believe. We came because of what we saw in you, but now we believe because of what he said." And it goes more along the lines of kind of, for me, has been a little freeing in that regard too, because it's very difficult to walk up to somebody on the street and go, "Hey, do you know Jesus?" It's not a conversation that people are willing to have. So, or most of the times people are not willing to have that. But really, it's just a matter of sharing your story, building your relationship, or leveraging a relationship that you have to allow the Holy Spirit to come in and do all the work. And really, that's what it is. We give the example, and the Holy Spirit does all the rest. We don't have to worry about. I'm not saying we don't have to worry about praying a prayer with them or doing that kind of stuff. I'm just saying that that's not our responsibility anymore. Maybe we're led to do that in that moment.
Sure.
As the Holy Spirit's working in this person. I mean, things like that. But that's really what I've taken away from that passage in particular. When it comes to like spending special time with God, I mean, I just enjoy being in his presence. It's not, I can't say that I do it every day, but when I'm not doing it, I miss it. And when I haven't done it for a long time, I feel it.
Sure.
In my spirit, the restlessness in my spirit. You all right? Need a tissue?
I'm good,
Your eyes
man.
are watering.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. We were talking today. I might as well let this just slow burn just continue before we find some relief. But we were talking today about, you were talking about your struggle with quiet time recently and just reading your Bible and stuff like that.
Right.
And the cool thing for me is, if you guys don't know this, and I'm not trying to like overshare your story, but Steve has dealt with a lot of like guilt-based faith, which is like a lot of like people giving you the guilt trip. You feeling like you need to do this stuff because somebody's going to be disappointed or God's going to be disappointed or whatever. The cool thing though was today you said, it's not that I feel guilty for missing my Bible readings. Like I just genuinely miss it. Like I miss connecting with God in that way. And I think that's great. I think it's a cool shift when we can kind of remove the guilt and the shame, like as if God is mad at us or kind of pointing his finger at us, and just say, no, I want to read my Bible because I want this relationship. Like I'm pursuing it in a healthy, helpful way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I also think too that what people don't understand, and when I say people, I mean Christians, what they don't really understand is that you can have restlessness in every area of your life, but if you're restless in your spirit, you're not going to have peace anywhere else.
Sure.
So that's the thing that needs to be dealt with first, because physically you could be doing well, mentally you could be doing well, but that only lasts for a short amount of time. If you're restless in your spirit, eventually that's going to overtake everything. At least that's been in my experience. I don't know if you can speak to that as well, but really, I mean, the restless spirit is the part that needs to be tamed first. So yeah, I know we joke a lot about how reading the Bible and praying is, the Christian's answer to everything, but really, I've come to understand over the last couple of years that it really is the truth.
How valuable
it is, because it helps put your spirit at rest.
Got it.
So
that's great. All right, we're on the last swing.
I'm trying to push it off by keep on talking.
You're like, I will preach 4 sermons right now. Steve has a history of preaching long, so I need to cut him off a little bit.
My nose is running.
No, all right. So this last one, you can do the last dab, but it's just the Carolina Reaper sauce. So it'd just be adding more of that same sauce,
2.1,
which I have loaded down on there. So you pick your wing.
It looks like blood.
It may be. Steve found a sauce that's supposedly 8 million. It's
9 million.
9 million. It's a paste. We're not willing to try it. If somebody wants it, you guys can come in.
It's $100 on Amazon. It's called Plutonium 9.
There you go. You check it out. Let me know what you think. I'm not going to join you with it. These are hot enough for me. All right. So you pick your wing. And
I'll let you have the choice on this one. You want the big one or the little one?
I'll take the big one.
It's stuck to the plate. That's not a good sign.
That's not a good sign. I'm not eating this whole wing, just so you know.
All right.
Go ahead. Call me out. Oh. All right. So last question. It's going to be easy.
I hope so.
But kind of going along with Bible reading, prayer, things like that, just habits that I know have been meaningful to you. One thing you mentioned a couple weeks ago that I thought was so interesting was communion. The way you love just like the kind of the practice of communion.
I do.
And so I just wanted to ask, it's something we do every week at Element. To me, it's twofold. As a pastor and as a preacher, it makes sure I have the gospel in every message because the gospel is centric to what we do. The second thing is, it's just a daily reminder or a weekly reminder of the fact that Jesus steps into our mess, gives us hope out of it. And so we like doing it. We do it often, but I want to know from you, why is communion so significant to you? What sticks out about it? Why you love it?
So really, again, it's just it's the practice of communion. It's the reminder of the sacrifice that Jesus made, dying on the cross, shedding his blood for my sins. Just to remember that was what paid for me to not ever have to die spiritually. Although
I'm not trying to be a distraction, but it's in the back of my throat right now.
I know, that's why I coughed. It got in the back of my throat too. But oh my gosh, this is a real long, slow burn. But I mean, that really is it. I mean, just to remember the sacrifice. But like you said in your sermon last Sunday, remembering the sacrifice goes beyond that. It's more, the resurrection is what solidifies our faith, because what good does it do to remind us to take her? Oh, gosh, I can't even think or talk. What good does it?
I should have asked these questions earlier.
I know you asked the deep theological ones. Oh my gosh, now it is in the back of my throat. That it doesn't do us any good to remember a broken body and shed blood if there's no further point on the other end.
Sure.
Like the sacrifice, yes, was important. He was a sacrificial lamb to pay for our sins. But the wages of sin is death, and if he never stepped out of that grave, none of that stuff matters.
Yeah.
So that really is on the flip side of the communion, is remembering that, to know that after he made that sacrifice, that he walked out of the grave so that we could have life.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
don't think I can talk anymore.
That's great.
That's hot.
Yeah. Hey, one of the things I want you to know, we're sitting here dealing with heat. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's fun. It's enjoyable. I hope you've been able to laugh. But at the end of the day, what Steve's talking about, what we're talking about, is the reality that Jesus offers us truth and grace. He fully knows our story, and he chooses to love us and accept us and welcome us into his presence anyway. And so the way he did that was to be that sacrificial lamb, which if you go back and read the Old Testament, there was a lot of sacrifice and bloodshed to be able to cover the sins of the people. And Jesus says, I'll be that sacrifice for my people. And when he does that, and then ultimately 3 days later resurrects from the grave, he overcomes death, he conquers all of that, and then invites us to be with him. Not because we deserve it, but because he says you're worth it, and I want to be with you. And so if that's something you're interested in, I'd love for you to leave me a comment, shoot me a text, drop me an email, ryan@elementchurchlaurel.com, or my cell number, 443-536-6714. Shoot me a text. We'd love to connect with you. We'd love to help you walk through that. At the end of the day, all of the hot wings, all the stuff we do, regardless of what it is as a church, is beyond making you laugh. It's ultimately to invite you to connect with Jesus in a meaningful way, and we'd love for you to do that. So, Steve, thanks so much.
Sure.
Thanks for being a part of it. He
pleasure.
called out Phil. He said he wants to see Phil in here in the next couple weeks. So, Phil called out. But
Actually, the other thing, too, is when you did the one with DeAndre, you said no girls have stepped up. So my wife, Christina, said that she would be interested in doing it. So I'm calling you out.
So we got
Christina,
some people.
Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me on Sunday while we're watching this.
So Steve's calling out his wife. Good luck with that. We asked in the first week, or first question, what was so difficult about talking to women. I don't suggest calling out your wife if you do this. But have a great week, guys. We will see you next Sunday. Thanks so much for what you do. Love you, Element. We're good.